Hi, welcome to our informational video about crafting your school and collective why. This video is meant to support you in engaging in that application step of creating your why for redesign. During this video, you will be instructed to pause to complete activities. This is something that you can do live with your staff. Pause, complete those activities, or this is something that you as a leadership team can watch, learn, and then take back to your staff independently. In order to engage in this presentation, you'll want to access the slides, and there's also a note-taking guide that you might find helpful. Take some time to capture those short URLs and open the slides and notes for this presentation. My name is Sarah Perryman, and I'm the Redesign Coordinator for KSDE. I work with Redesign Specialist Jay Scott, who oversees our secondary redesign schools, and Tammy Mitchell, who works with our elementary schools. I've been in this role since March of 2019, and before that, I was the ELA consultant for approximately 1 year. Before I came to the agency, I was an ELA and ESOL teacher just down the road from KSDE at Topeka High School. I've earned all of my degrees from KU. I have a bachelor's in English education, a master's in curriculum and instruction with an ESOL endorsement, and then a master's in educational leadership. So rock chalk. To begin, we always want to talk about the Kansas vision for education. In Kansas, our vision is to lead the world in the success of each student. That vision was laid out by the State Board of Education in 2015. The redesign effort is seen as the rocket to get us to the moon. And the four major components of that rocket are those redesign principles of personalizing learning for each student, partnering with families, business, and community, developing student success skills, and focusing our instruction on real-world application. But we do want to focus on the phrase each student. If we're going to lead the world in the success of each student, we have to move away from educating students in batches. We need to be able to customize education for each student. And that is the vision of our state. In order to be successful, right, we want to lead the world in the success of each student. We need to define success. And the State Board of Education did that. They said a student is successful when they have the academic preparation, cognitive preparation, technical skills, employability skills to be civically engaged. And the last thing the State Board laid out for us is our focus. If we want to lead the world in the success of each student, and we know what success means, what outcomes, what areas of focus do we need to establish? And they said that there are 5 areas of focus, 5 State Board outcomes, and those are social emotional growth, kindergarten readiness, individual plans of study, high school graduation, and post-secondary completion. And so to move us into our content for this video, in Redesign, we utilize the design thinking process to help schools work through change. The first step in design thinking is to empathize. You have to get to know the values, beliefs, ideas of you and your stakeholders. For Redesign, that all starts by knowing your why. Your why is what we are going to focus on today. We'll work through creating personal, school, and community why statements. All of this will culminate into a shared vision for your school that you'll establish during building the launchpad of the Redesign Plan year. But in order to know where you want to go, you first need to know why you're choosing that end in the first place. And so let's get started by learning about why. This line comes from Time for Change: 4 Essential Skills for Transformational School and District Leaders. It says to embrace a vision, people have to clearly understand the vision and feel personally compelled to contribute. In order to invest in the vision, every teacher must know his or her why. Moreover, the vision should be derived from the collective whys of the staff, students, and community. And so, what we want to do today is lay the foundation by working to create a collective why. In this video, Simon Sinek talks about establishing your why, what he calls the golden circle. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what he has to say.
Forward TV, the world is thinking.
All those great leaders and all those great organizations, everything from Martin Luther King to Apple Computers, it doesn't matter. Big companies, small companies in every single industry. All those that command great loyalty, people. Loyalty is a feeling. Loyalty is a feeling, a human feeling. All those that command loyalty from employees and from customers and from investors. Every single one of them, regardless of their industry, thinks, acts, and communicates the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everybody else. All I did was write it down. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. It's a bullseye. In the middle is the word why. The center ring is the word how. And the outside ring is the word what. It's this little idea that distinguishes those that survive those 3 years, and more importantly, it's this little idea that is able to inspire people to join you in your pursuit. Every single organization on the planet knows what they do. You know the products you sell and the services you offer. Some organizations know how they do what they do. These are the things that we think make us special or better or stand out from our competition. But not very many organizations can clearly state why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit, that's a result. By why, I don't mean to have an exit strategy. By why, I mean what's your purpose, what's your cause, what's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why did you get out of bed this morning? And why should anyone care? As a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. We tell people what we do, we tell them how we do it, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, support, a vote, working hard. But all the inspired leaders, those with the capacity to inspire, every single one of them, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, thinks, acts, and communicates from the inside out. They all start with why. I use Apple very frequently because they're easy to understand and we all get it. If Apple were like everyone else, a piece of communication from them would sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? That's normal. Here's our new technology company. We have these features and that features, and we're better than our competition in this way. We're simpler and have a better user interface. Choose us. This is normal. Here's our law firm. We have all the best lawyers. We went to all the best schools. We win all of our cases. Choose us. This is the norm. But all the inspiring leaders and all the inspiring organizations do it differently. This is how Apple actually does it. They start here. Everything we do, they say, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? It feels different. You want to join me in this pursuit, not because my computers are better, but because you believe what I believe.
If you were unable to watch that video or to listen, please know that the link is available in the notes of this PowerPoint. In that video, Simon Sinek talks about why, how, and what, leading from the inside out. That's the order that we operate from in Redesign. We start with why. We teach you a process for how you will make innovative change, and then we support you in determining what that change will look like. And so today, we want to hit that bullseye. We want to start with why. Our process is going to be to funnel. We're going to walk through defining each of these things: values, personal whys, what success means to us, outcomes we want to achieve. And then by examining all of those elements together, we'll funnel that down into a school collective why. We'll start by analyzing and examining values that exist within your community. So for our first activity, we will do a community values assessment. To do this, you'll need to get into breakout groups or established teams, and we'll do this for approximately 10 to even 20 minutes, depending on your need. In your teams, you'll work through these 5 steps. You can do this in your note-taking guide so that you can track your progress. In your groups, you'll start by opening the picture cards linked to community values at the top of the slide. You'll work through the cards, you'll look through them, and pick out 5 pictures that your team thinks best represents your community's values. So what is it that your community believes? How do they act because of that? On your note sheet, you will list the 5 images that you picked. You'll put the number on your note sheet, and next to that, you'll write down the value or belief that your team is associating with that image. You'll then want to focus in on 2 of the most important or most influential values, the 2 that you'll need to be the most mindful of in redesign. Once you have those top 2 identified, you'll create a community values statement. What drives or motivates your community? What is your community value? What is their why? So think about if you're making changes in your school, if you're asking your community to get on board, what do you need to account for? What do you need to make sure you still support? What do you need to say, man, if we mess with this thing, then our whole project might unravel. So let's go ahead, break out into teams. It's recommended that you take about 10 to 20 minutes. Look through these cards. There are no right or wrong answers. What is it that your community values? What must you be mindful of? What is your community's why for existing, for moving forward, for wanting to grow and stabilize? Take some time to complete this community values activity before moving on with the next portion. Once your teams are done, generate some examples of those community value statements. What do they have in common? What are you all focusing in on when it comes to your community? Add that values to your funnel, and then we'll move on. So this next piece, after determining our community values, is we need to examine the need. We know what we believe, and now we need to have an impetus for change, and that's our need. So what are you hoping to address by engaging in the hard work of redesign? Let's start by developing that needs statement. To do this, you'll get back into your teams, and we're going to start by defining success and outcomes. We'll start by writing down 5 success statements about students graduating from your district, or if you're in elementary school, you could even think about students leaving your school. You know that this student is a successful Westwood graduate when what? Write down around 5 success statements. A student is successful when. And then you're challenged with reviewing those statements and thinking about how will I measure this? If I want my students to have success, I'll know that I've helped them achieve it when. This can be tough for some of our statements, and that's okay. Our next step is to circle the statements that you're currently able to measure accurately and with fidelity. So if we want our students to have academic skills, that's something we're really adept at measuring. So that would be something I can circle. But we know that there are other areas that we don't have strong capacity for measuring. And those are areas that we want to star. Those are areas that we need to begin monitoring with intention. And all of that will lead you to your needs statement. It could go something like, we want our students to be perseverant, but we don't have a way of knowing that our students are capable of overcoming obstacles on their own. That's our need. We want our students to have this capacity or skill, but we don't have a great way of measuring it yet. So we don't know if we're hitting that bullseye or not. Again, there are no right or wrong answers, and this is something that you'll want to take approximately 10 to 20 minutes in your teams to complete. What does success mean for you? How can you measure and validate success? And what are your gaps? All of that will then result in your needs statement. Make sure to gather examples once teams are done, and that will then be added to our funnel. So pause, complete the needs portion of this training, and then move on. The last part is going to be crafting your personal why and funneling all of that into a team and then a school collective why. So to start, we're going to build a personal why. We're going to do this right here. You don't need to break into teams for this portion. This is something that will be done individually. Give people approximately 5 minutes of quiet time to create a personal why. Your goal is to get this in under 25 words. So this isn't a purpose statement that you put at the top quarter of your resume page. This is something that you want to keep clear, direct, and to the point. Take about 5 minutes to work on those personal why statements. If you need help, you can use the questions on the slide. What's your purpose in being a teacher? What do your students need? Why does education matter? Why does your school need to redesign? Take about 5 minutes to write out that personal why before moving teachers on in teams. So now we should have a few things. We have personal why statements, we have need statements, and we have community value statements. The task of your teams, which is an ambitious task, is to break out and to try to craft a why statement that's less than 10 words, answering the question, why redesign? Why redesign now? Prepositions, conjunctions, articles, sure, those don't count, but try to keep this short. This team why will become the foundation for your school's collective why, which should be easy to remember for everyone, staff, students, stakeholders. So short and sweet, we know is easier to remember. Take 10 to 20 minutes. This one might require a little bit more time to create team whys, funneling those personal whys, outcomes, and values into a team collective why. All of that's getting funneled down. And don't forget to collect those examples once teams have completed the task. All of those team whys will need to be synthesized into a collective why. And so the next task, the last thing that you need to do, which should occur after this video, will be to synthesize your team why statements into a school collective why. Look over what those teams said and synthesize that down. What you'll find is that often our why statements read more like a vision. Your vision is where you want to go. Your why is the reason for setting out on that journey. As you're reading through those team collective whys, tease out your vision from your reason, from your purpose for existing, as Simon Sinek said. It's recommended that your building leadership team take the role in synthesizing these ideas down into a school collective why. Make sure to still gather staff feedback before establishing and publishing that collective why. Once you have your why established, you can then move on to those other pieces of establishing who is going to lead and facilitate the work. And then you can move into how you'll do it and what you'll end up doing. And those last two pieces, how and do, that what component, that's going to be supported during that redesign plan year. So your immediate action is to shore up those team whys into a collective why, knowing that we want to personally compel each and every staff member to engage in doing this hard work. We're thinking about, why do you want to redesign now? And then I challenge you to think, how will you bring this new foundational why into your work for the rest of the semester? Why we're doing this work doesn't start in August. It can begin now. How can you bring that purpose and passion into the work you do the rest of the school year? Something to think about. This has been framed within the context of turning in your application for Apollo 3. As part of that application, you're asked to do two activities. One is complete a collective why, which your school should be able to do after the completion of this video. The second component is completing the school culture survey. We're asking that schools administer the culture survey to at least all certified staff. We challenge you to consider inviting classified staff to complete that survey, though it's not required. But ask every certified staff member to participate in this building culture survey. You'll then want to email redesign@ksde.org a request to review your individual school report. Please email us once you know that all staff have completed the survey, and we'll be able to return a customized individual school report to you. Our goal is to have those out by May 7th. Knowing that if your school needs more time, we're always happy to complete that custom report at a later date. On this slide, you'll find the application for Apollo 3. There's the Word and PDF version. If you have any questions about the application or the activities that are required of you in that application, please email redesign@ksd.org. I thank you for watching this video and completing these activities. You can always contact me directly at sperryman@ksde.org, or you can just default to redesign@ksde.org, and that'll get you in touch with myself, Jay, and Tammy, the entire redesign team. Thank you for your participation, and we look forward to having you join us in Apollo 3.